Hello friends, my name is Akshay Goyal and today we will discuss about that how can we create session in a CodeIgniter. It's a very simple method and basically what is session? It is a way to store our data and we can use that data on any page of our project. So it's a very important in our project and in a coordinator we can basically define session in a two ways. First is also other simple. So first we will see our first way in which we define session in a autoload file. So let's see. Here I'm using WAMP. You can use any like a XAMPP or a AMP. As you know that there is a autoload file in a application config and autoload.php. Basically, session is a library in a coordinator, and you can see in a autoload.php there is a autoload libraries, and I can initialize here session. So it is the first way to initialize session. After initialization process, we will set the session. So I save my file. After this, I go to my controller and define some logic to print the session variable. So here is a default welcome controller and I write my code here. I define a function which set the value of session. So public function and suppose I write my session function name is set session, and if you know about PHP session, that it is a very similar in a like a core PHP session. In a core PHP session, we use a global variable dollar underscore session. Here we can also define here like that. So I use dollar session and here I can set my variable name for session. Suppose this is a variable, so the session value will be stored in a variable name is variable. So here you can see the variable name is variable and this is my session is the value of my variable and I store this in a session. So I can check that it is working on node by print out the session. So I go to my local host and check out this. So this is the function name. So you can see the session value is printing. This is a session. So this is the first way to initialize the session, and it is a very easy. And if you want to check that it is, I can use the session name on other page or not. So we can see by using other function. So I just create any other function name is like other, and we see that it is also print in this function or not. Saving and now I call my other function, and if this is my session is print, it's mean the session is working. You can see I call the other function and I did not define this line in this function, but it is still printing. It's mean our value is storing in a session and we can use this value on any other page. So this is a very simple method to use session in a coordinator. So So now we will see the other way to initialize the session in a CodeIgniter. What is the use of other way? Suppose that in a first way we initialized session in a autoload file, and it's mean that suppose we are using controller welcome, but if we use the other controller like my controller, then autoload file load the library session in both controllers, first and the second. But if we want to load the session library only in a welcome controller, then we will not initialize session in a autoload file, because it is useless, because it is also load the session library in the second controller, my controller. So let's see. First of all, I remove my library session from autoload.php. Now I save this file, and now I only load my session library in a welcome controller. So because this load because before any function execution it will load first. So we need constructor for this. So I use constructor for my controller welcome. Basically, we are defining this line to resolve override problem by our local constructor. We are making this local constructor, and but we want to use the constructor of a parent, that is CI controller, that is. So we need to write this line. I can also write here to resolve. uh, so you can see that we have load our library session. Now when the controller will call, then constructor will automatically call, and this will load our library session. And when we'll call the action set session, it will store our session variable and print our session variable. So let's see. Now I go to my localhost again and set session. Now if it print this is my session, it's mean our session is still working. See, this is my session. It's mean our session is still working in a second way. So now we can also destroy our session. To check this, I create another session. I create another function uh, like a destroy session. Like a core PHP, we can destroy our session using session destroy function. So I just only call SEWSIN session destroy function, session destroy, sorry, destroy. So if the session will destroy, its mean on the other page it will not print the value of $session variable. So we can check this by printing this. Suppose that we have another action other, and if after destroy the session, it will not print the value in a $session variable. So let's check out this. control S. Now you can see, now I am calling our action set action, and it is printing this is my session. Now I call destroy session. It will destroy our session. So when I called destroy session, it have already destroy our session. Now if I call other action where I am printing the value of a dollar session variable, now it will not print the value in a dollar session because it have already destroyed by the session destroy function. So let's check out. You can see it is saying that PHP error was incurred. Server notice undefined index variable. It said undefined index variable because now variable is not a set. It don't have any value because session destroy have destroy our session. So you can see that these are that it is a very simple to use session in a coordinator. Just define our session. We have a two ways to define the session, by using autoload or by define or by load the library in a particular controller. And we can store the value, we can store the session value by like this, and we can destroy also our session using the session destroy function. So if you should must try this to learn more about the session. And if you have any doubt, you can comment me, or and if you want to know more about CodeIgniter, you can check my other videos. And if you like this video, then like and subscribe. Thank you. And if you want to buy a good book for a CodeIgniter, then I have also given the link where you can buy from Amazon the CodeIgniter book. Thank you for watching.